Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Sims, and today I'm going to be doing a guided meditation with you on one of the elements of our existence. And one of the main elements is water. And water is one of my favorite elements to focus on. It creates this fluidity of moving, and we are 70 to 75% water, and so already we are very fluid creatures. We are meant to be very fluid. This water travels in, out, around. It's on our skin even though we can't see it. It's in our hair even though we can't see it. It's in our body even though we can't see it. And water, people have this illusion or this idea that it's just there. And I have a glass of water, that it's very movable. But it's also very solid if it's in a container. It is very strong if you've ever been through a hurricane and you see the damage that water can do. It is very persuasive. When it's going in a direction, it's going to persuade you to come with it. And so there's so many areas of our body that we can start to take on this elemental unification of water. And if we start to meditate on it, how our lives can change. Now, I had talked about with my class this morning how you approach any problem. And sometimes we approach problems that come into our life and into our existence, head on. And we feel as though it just takes us back. It's overwhelming. We let the problem absorb into us instead of absorbing into the problem. And I kind of think of it as somebody belly flopping from a diving board into a pool. And if you've ever seen that, you know that they're going to come out just battered, bruised, red. It's a painful process. It's not the best way to enter into a problem, is just open up. And sometimes we go into our problems in this direction, and we think there's no way not to be blown over by the problem. But if we head the problem in a different way, if we head it in a way that it is absorbing and becoming, one of us, not in resistance, but in guidance, then it's like a diver coming into the water and they just go right down into it. So sometimes it's our perspective that a problem isn't overwhelming. It's how we're entering into the problem that is overwhelming. And that's where we have this unification with water. That water is all around us, even though I can't see it, it's in the air. So I'm working with it at this very moment as we speak. I'm breathing in water because it's in the oxygen I breathe. So it's in all areas of my life. So how do I move more fluidly in life? How do I not resist everything and become this absorption with movement? And if we think about it too, water is energy. If you've ever been to a water plant, a steam plant, hydraulic systems are based on this idea of water, and that water is energy. And so it's really important that this can cover all the areas of our life, thinking about water. So I have a glass of water, and if you have an opportunity and you have a glass nearby, or if you can run and go get a glass, I'd like you to get a glass. And we're going to just start off sitting for a moment. I'm going to hold my glass of water, and I want you to start kind of connecting to your body in this sense that I am very fluid. Allowing your breath to flow. And as you allow your breath to flow, notice this balance of the breath as though a wave is going up in the ocean. It has to come down the same level. It doesn't stay up. A wave doesn't go up 6 feet and come down 4. It stays up 6 feet and then it has to come back down to its descending purpose. And so there is a balance with everything that water does. And there's a balance to my life. When one thing rises, it is going to fall down. And then another thing rises and it falls. And there's this fluid movement. And sometimes I don't mind the rise, but I don't like the fall. And this is this balance with water, this balance with your breath, and coming into harmony that when something rises, it is going to fall, but then it's going to rise back up. There is a balance in everything, and focusing on one area more than the other is creating an imbalance in our life. And if we're going to move as though water does, then we need to be a little bit more fluid in our thinking. So I want you to just look at the water and talk to the water. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you can silently talk to the water and know that water is healing, and that ask the water to heal your life, to heal your body. Ask the water to be a guide in your life. And that maybe when things are a little bit challenging, you can reflect back and look to the water and see, how am I not moving fluidly in my life? Where am I belly flopping into my pool and working against the rhythm and the natural flow of life? And so you can hold on to your water, or you can set the water down. But I want you to use the water, or this idea of water, as your guide for your meditation today. And so when you breathe in, I want you to feel the expanse of your rib cage. Breathe out. Feel the contraction of your ribs. Breathing in, feel this crescendo up, as though water is rising up towards the top of your throat. And as you breathe out, feel a heaviness or a weight to your sits bones as you're sinking deeper into the earth. Now, as you find this flow in your breath going from the tailbone up to the top of your throat, maybe even up to the top of your head, start to see and feel how water is pulsing and moving in your body. And maybe starting to connect your vision to where you feel water in your own body. And we'll come to the most obvious place, your mouth. And maybe you feel the moistness of the saliva in your mouth or your tongue. Maybe you feel the moistness in your eyes. And then going to some of the not so obvious places. Notice if you can connect to the sound of your heartbeat. And your blood is rich in water. And feeling your muscles plump with water. And maybe some of the areas that are less moist, Think about the bones. Now your bones are very porous, and they have little tiny holes all throughout the bones. And just picturing all those little holes filling and moistening with water. And the joints, your knees, your shoulders, your elbows, your ankles, your wrists, all the knuckles around your neck, all the movable parts of your body. Starting to picture water in those areas. The ligaments and the tendons that get a little bit less water. Picturing those moistening up with the water. Notice your skin, and maybe even picturing a porousness to your skin. And all those little pores are filling with water. Picturing the follicles of your hair and the hair itself being moist with water. Around the eyebrows, the eyelashes, even the hairs in your nose are rich in this source of water. Feeling your spine growing long and all the vertebrae in between in these discs that are in between there are cushioned in water and creating a little bit more separation between each vertebrae in your spine. And just picturing this water creating this more erect surface in your body. So instead of feeling this weakness as though you're filling something up with water to the very top, and then it's becoming very solid in its surface, but it's still moist. Solid doesn't mean hard or dry. It means full. But creating this room for oxygen inside your water. So your cells are really strong and healthy. And then I want you to picture that this water is flowing in and out of your body, nourishing and cleansing every part of your body that maybe felt a little compressed, a little dry, a little stiff. And then I want you to picture yourself in a bathtub. And it's a huge bathtub. And the water is the same temperature as my skin. And I enter the bathtub. And I can't tell the difference between where the water is and where my skin is. And just feel yourself at one with water, that you are this fluid, moving being. Maybe even feel those gentle sways inside your body. Feel your body absorb this water, healing any area that might have been dry and stiff. And knowing now that I have this abundance of water in your intestines, in your organs, in your cells, on your skin, in your blood. And so I'm able to move in this fluid fashion. And now, since my body isn't worried about hydration, start to know that you are the water. You are strong. You are persistent. You are resourceful. You can get into any area and be a part of it. And there's nothing that you can't do and no place you can't go. You are life-giving. You are loving. You are what feeds the planet and nourishes all beings. And that you are as vital as water. And knowing that there is no problem you can't solve. Just changing your perspective from being solid and rigid to moving fluidly. Water can change its shape. It can go from a solid to a liquid to a steam. It can evaporate and then come back. And so there's nothing it can't do. There's no place it can't go. There's no problem too difficult. And so if we think of ourselves as water, there's no obstacle we cannot tackle. And that my life moves in this fluidity. Abundance flows freely to me. Health and wellness flows freely to me. And I move fluidly and effortlessly throughout life. And just keeping this rhythm, this picture of water in your body. And knowing that you can go back to this visualization and having water kind of be your guide. And it's a pretty easy guide because it's something I can carry with me at all times. And when you're ready, maybe opening the eyes. Very slowly coming out of your meditation or deciding to stay in it. Today, just reflect on what am I not handling the way water would handle a situation, a problem. And I know that's an odd way to look at something, but sometimes coming into a problem from a totally different perspective gives you a clarity that maybe you hadn't had. If water was going to deal with a particular situation, how would it handle a situation? And remember that it can change, it can transform. A closed door is not a problem. It goes under it, over it, through it. And so picturing your life as though you are water, because you're already 75% there. It's only the 25% from here that's the leap. And so since water is energy, what kind of energy are you? And so I hope you've enjoyed this little guided meditation. I will link this to my YouTube, which is at Bending Light Yoga. I hope you look for some of my other meditations. This is one of my favorites, and I do this very often in my yoga practice because I feel it makes me move less rigidly in a way that maybe I wouldn't move if I didn't think I was quite such a fluid and movable creature. Thank you so much again. Happy Monday. I hope you approach every situation as though you're a water. All right, namaste.